And we're live! Well,
Yay!
welcome to this week's edition of the Petty and Ill-Informed podcast, where we cast our petty and ill-informed opinions about a variety of topics. It's just me and Nikki this week. I seem to be cursed that I can't have all my co-hosts on at the same time. Maybe Kevin and Nikki are the same person. I'm not saying anything.
I'm just saying that you haven't seen me and Kevin at the same time.
No, never seen you
Yeah.
in the same room, so...
Nope.
So yeah, darn. Anything happened this week?
No.
Nope.
My week has been busy, full of work, and that's it that I can think of. Just work.
Work.
I mean, is there something specific that you're wanting me to talk about that I don't remember?
No.
That happened to me? Okay. I was like, is this a trick question?
No, it's a completely normal, natural question.
Did anything happen this week to you?
No, it was pretty boring.
Besides getting drunk and playing a video game and not remembering?
Yeah, I can't remember last night at all. I can't.
I had no clue, man. I was just enjoying watching you play Fallout, and we happy for you.
No, just I got smashed. I had a big fight and, dealt with it the only way I know how. Silence.
Yeah, no, I had no idea that you were drunk, at all.
No, I was hammered last night.
That's hilarious.
And that sort of makes me feel good that I can pull off being normal when I'm that drunk.
Oh yeah, you were. It was just quiet, and I was like, "That's cool," because I wasn't feeling the best. So it was just you playing video games and us just hanging out in silence. It's perfect.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's cool then. That's copacetic.
We were both pretty wrecked. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a long week, but it's over now. Saturday night. Time for the Petty and Ill-Informed podcast.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about a sex raft.
We are going to talk about a sex raft. Well, we're not going to talk about a sex raft because, well, we're going to talk about an attempted sex raft. We're going to talk about what happens when a man with no charisma and, well, a limited amount of intelligence attempts to establish a sort of cult. It doesn't work.
Okay, this works a lot better because you say sex raft and my brain goes to a million different places and none of them have anything to do with the cult. I'm like, so is there a bunch of bodies tied on top of each other trying to float in the ocean? It went pretty twisted in my brain. Is this like a raft where a bunch of people were trying to have sex and maybe it sunk because it's a raft and can only hold so many people and really isn't built for an orgy? You know what I'm saying? My brain went to every other place other than, hey, cults.
Well, I'm not going to kink shame you, but I am going to kink ask why.
Yeah, I would join a sex raft cult.
You'd just be down for that.
Right, just be like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm down.
Sign me up. Give me the secret decoder ring.
Here are my digits. Let's make this happen.
Let's make this happen. Sounds magical to me. The sex raft cult.
Sounds like well, it wasn't actually a cult as such, but it was what the dude tried to do. It was actually a scientific experiment.
Oh, see, I'm even more into this. Science and sex. And a raft, which includes a body of water, I'm hoping. Maybe it was the water bed. Was it on a water bed?
No. It sailed the Atlantic.
Luminous wants to know if a sex raft is like the Love Boat, and that could be without the corny characters, or maybe it does have the corny characters.
Oh, there's some corny characters, all right, but there's not really a cast of characters. There's two main people involved in this story, and neither of them were, corny as such, but one of them was a dick.
Well, I mean, if you have a sex raft, we're hoping that there's at least one dick there. You know, you just muted yourself. I'm not sure what just happened, but I'm just saying.
Sorry about that. I pressed the wrong button. Oh, we got ourselves a
Naked
bot in the chat.
HD
Yeah,
XYZ online strips without clothing. Ah, yeah. They know what's up. Oh, look at that. They mean it.
yeah, that's a bot. Nice. You call your podcast "Sex Raft" and you're going to attract some bots. That's for sure. So
Cool.
let's get to it. In 1973 or four or three, in the 70s anyway, a Mexican anthropologist called Santiago Genoves had a plan, had a theory, yes. He had worked out that most of the conflict in monkey populations was down to males fighting over ovulating females. Right?
Hmm.
Seems fair. That's the kind of thing your average monkey is concerned about, right?
Right.
Have I got fruit? Are there ovulating females? Most
Hmm.
humans are fairly similar. So he attempted to apply this theory to human beings, and to that end, he built a, a boat, a raft,
Uh-huh.
the Acali, and this boat was designed specifically to make it so there was no way for there to be any privacy whatsoever. Right? You even
Okay.
had to poop in front of other people.
Okay.
So already he's trying to push the experiment. So his plan was simple. He puts 10 sexually attractive young people on this boat, and about a month into the trip, because they went from across the Atlantic, took a few months from Norway to Egypt or something. And he wanted the men to turn into this cavemen and be like, these women are mine, and fight each other. And he wanted them to claim females, and he wanted them, he had this whole theory about what would happen between the participants in this experiment.
Hmm.
And so they set sail on their boat. Yeah, it was a good theory.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting there, SoFlo. Yeah, I was going to say, despite his best efforts, his plan failed. He had the exact opposite effect, is what happened to them eventually. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Now, Genoves was a decent rafter himself. He'd spent a lot of time on the water, so he felt like he could captain a ship himself. But for the sake of the experiment, he put a woman in charge, for gender equality or whatever. Well, he was yeah. I mean, I think that was the point. Was he put a woman in charge for that reason?
Hmm.
And her name was Bjornstone. That's a proper name, that is. Anyway, so they set
Real.
sail across the ocean, and he expected for the first month or so they'd all get along with each other, have a laugh, and then it would start descending into chaos.
Hmm.
And he was right for the first month. Um, the raft went perfectly well. Everyone was having a good laugh. They were all getting to know each other, being friendly, bonding
Hmm.
over the experience. They even started making a joke over the toilet situation. This whole thing was filmed and photographed and documented. There's a documentary called the Acali Raft documentary that you can see where all of this has been put together. So we know pretty much what happened on there. And I highly recommend that you go see that because it's a great documentary. So the first month goes by, everything's happening according to Santiago's plan. They've all bonded, they're all having a laugh, and then he's like, right, now they're going to start descending into chaos. Now
Quick question. Is this the only female on the boat? There's just one female?
No, there was 5 females, 5 males.
Okay, okay, okay. continue. Sorry, I just wanted to clarify.
Years later, it came out that a few of them had copped off together, but only out of boredom, not because of any primal urges, you know. Just some people process stress that way.
That's right.
But, so yeah, a month goes by, nothing happens. Santiago's sitting there going, ah, yes, my experiment is going exactly to plan. Any day now. And another month goes by of him sitting there going, any day now. And it doesn't happen. So, obviously, since this is a scientific experiment, the person conducting the experiment cannot interfere in any way, shape, or form. Otherwise, you know, all the data collected becomes polluted. You have to throw the entire experiment out the window and start again, right?
Right.
So, what would you do if you were Santiago in this situation?
Call it a wrap? Like, obviously, my theory was incorrect. My hypothesis was not working.
Right. What he actually did was call them all for a big meeting and reveal certain members didn't like other members because they had to fill out a questionnaire on a weekly basis. And he was like, well, she said this about you and you said this about him.
So he interrupted his own science project.
Yeah, he basically scuppered himself. He also did the worst possible thing you could possibly do in this situation. Everybody knows, you know, when you've got a circle of friends, someone always has to be the scapegoat. Someone has to be the butt of all your jokes. On this show, you and Kevin gang up against me and Kevin gang up against you, and me and you gang up against Kevin. And that shifts weekly.
That's true.
Yeah. But what Santiago did was deliberately provoke conflict. So he gave everybody in that group a mutual enemy. He became the scapegoat for the entire group. And so there would be no conflict because even if they had a problem with each other, they'd be able to go, well, at least he isn't that Santiago dickhead.
Right.
Right. So this doesn't work. And all the members of the Raft, instead of fighting, talk about their problems like adults. They sit down and go, yeah, I did have this problem with you, but you did this and this and this, so I'm over it now. And Santiago, you know, if you watch the documentary, he gets visibly more frustrated as they start coming together, right? He's like really starting to get angry. And
okay.
So they carry this. So after this meeting, he's pretty much the pariah of the ship. Everybody hates him.
Right.
But, you know, they're not openly saying anything to his face or anything. As the ship approaches its the last month of its journey, they run into a hurricane. And the ship's captain says, all right, we've got to put this ship to port now. We can't possibly hope to survive this hurricane. This is a 12 by 7 meter craft. We'll get ripped to pieces. And Santiago's like, no, we're not doing that. That would ruin the experiment. I'm taking command of the ship.
And then everybody ate him. The end.
I wish that was the end, but no. So he becomes the new captain. The ship carries on, narrowly misses the hurricane, and this motherfucker gets so smug about that. Like, I can't even tell you how much of a smug prick he is about the fact that they passed the hurricane and his experiment could carry on. He's like, well, you know, an experienced seaman like myself knew the waves and could tell.
But so essentially, at this point, he's kidnapped these people onto a boat.
Well, no, because like they're not at that point yet. At no point during the experiment do they ever go, we've had enough, we want to stop now.
Was that not what the whole we should put this ship to port meant?
That's true, but they survived the hurricane, so they were all happy to carry on, if you know what I mean.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
So he's being smug about this, and they catch a shark at about this point. One of the fishermen on the boat catches a shark, and in the documentary they're like, oh, right, we can have shark meat tonight. I've never had that before. And he kills the shark and they eat it, right? Now, Santiago, who's been keeping a journal about this whole thing up to this point. His version of that is so hysterically different from what actually happened. It's hilarious. In his journal, in reality, they were like, "Oh yeah, shark meat. We're gonna have a fun time." In his journal, it's like, "And he brought the axe down with such force and ferocity, his eyes bloodshot and crazed. His only son for blood would be satisfied this day."
Wow.
So Santiago is trying everything in his power, everything to make this experiment a success. He desperately wants to prove his point, and he's just wrong. He's just so wrong. The crews come together, they bonded. There's a lovely moment where one of the African American crewmates, realizing they're traveling the same path pretty much that her ancestors would have traveled when they were in the slave ships. And she just, and they have this whole wonderful bonded moment, and Santiago's just trying to shit on it as much as he can.
Right, because he wants it to go a different way. He wants us to turn into animals.
Yeah, he wants it to be like, Lord of the Flies, basically. That's what he's
Right,
going
yeah.
for. And it's not happening. It's not happening. So the shark incident happens, and they carry on across the sea. At this point, one of them big ass cargo ships, the really big ones, bears down on their little raft. Santiago shits a chicken, right? He's running up and down the ship. He's screaming. He's crying. He's going, "Oh my God, what are we going to do? What are we going to do?" And then Bjornstrom steps up. And if you watch the documentary, she's sort of like, there's almost like that sigh you do when you're really pissed off.
Yeah.
She's just like, and they signal flares in the air. They signal to the ship that they're there, and the ship goes around them, and everything's fine. But that's it for Santiago being captain. He's done.
Wow.
The entire crew's like, "No, she's in charge. You just go away."
Vagina power. She was only here as a figurehead, but now she's taking over your job.
Now she's number one in the hood. You're done.
Right.
And he gets so arsey about this. For the rest of the trip, he pretends to be sick.
Wow.
Yeah. He pretends to be sick. He's like, "Oh, I'm not feeling well." And the woman, they've got a medic on board. She's tending to him every day. And she says on the documentary, "I think he was faking it, to be honest."
Wow.
And the entire crew hates him at this point. Like, in some of their journals, they're actively, fantasizing about killing him. Like, one of them writes, "We could take a knife and we could all put our hands on the knife, so we'd all be guilty, and we could stab him, we could throw him overboard, and no one will ever know." Another person said, "Santiago stood at the bow of the ship today, and I genuinely thought about just shoving him into the ocean." So they're all getting along.
Like an awesome guy. Right. They are all getting along. They have a common enemy.
They have a common enemy. He's done it to himself. He's broken his own experiment with his own complete and total lack of knowledge of the human psyche.
Incompetence.
Yeah, incompetence. That's a good word. Incompetence. And so they all hate him. They all want him dead. The ship carries on. He doesn't die. I'm just going to spoil that right for you now.
God damn it. I was hoping that they'd all just like push him over and just keep sailing.
But that was
I don't know what happened to that weird guy.
Him pretending to be sick was the last real big drama. Like, he totally fabricated his journals. He exaggerated so much that, he started referring to them after the shark thing happened as the mob. He was just so desperate to say that it was all breaking down and his scientific experiment was a failure. So they eventually make it to port, right? They've completed their journey, 100% successful. Santiago finds out the university that was backing him has completely disowned him and the experiment because they heard it was a ship of debauchery, basically. So even if he'd got what he wanted, no scientific journal was going to publish it anyway.
Right. Because it's called a sex raft.
because it's called a sex raft.
This really reminds me. So you said this was in the 70s?
Yeah, 70s.
Have you ever heard of We Live in Public? Like Josh Harris? So
Yeah.
yeah, so he like set up a bunker with a bunch of people. Like even in their bunks, they were being videotaped. Like so I had my remote and I could be like, what's going on in bunk 39?
Hmm.
And see someone sleeping if they wanted to. Like their bathroom was in the middle of the room.
Hmm.
So everything you had to do was in public. Now that went completely balls to the walls crazy.
Right. Because the
So
person running that obviously knew how, you know,
he was
people
giving them
work.
drugs,
Yeah.
whatever, yeah, whatever they wanted, they had. I mean, there was guns, drugs, whatever. That crap got shut down and went kind of nuts. But if you haven't watched it, it's called We Live in Public, and it's a pretty freaking awesome documentary. But his wasn't so much like, oh, I want these people to, revert back to some kind of, primal time. It was more like, I wonder what would happen if you stuck someone in a virtual world where they were being watched 24/7.
Yeah. No.
What their personas would take on, and it really
Hmm.
became like a huge thing.
Hmm. I'm gonna watch that. That sounds
You
pretty
should.
interesting.
It's really freaking awesome. It's a really good documentary, and if you like the Acali, like it's not as funny as the sex raft or a cult or someone
Just
just
say,
boning
well,
themselves.
that's what he was trying to do. If you get
Hmm.
down to it, he was trying to create a cult. He failed. He failed utterly. Like it was a slow motion train wreck of how not to perform a scientific experiment. So they get back to port. Santiago's still doing his dying fly act. They go off, they have showers, they do all the things they've been looking forward to doing, and then they get back together for one last debrief.
Yeah.
And if you watch nothing else from the documentary, watch the final debrief because the hissy fit Santiago throws is hilarious.
I will definitely have to. You'll have to send me the documentary.
He is a grown ass man with grey hair, a big beard, and he acts like such a baby. It's brilliant. Like everything's failed. Everything he tried to do, complete failure. He sits there all quiet and he's like, "Well, I'm still sick, by the way. Yeah, still sick. When I eventually do this experiment properly, I'll be sure to reference you losers. Uh, I see a lot of you have written in your questionnaires that you thought I was rude and callous. I was never rude. I was a perfect gentleman. You are all the problem on this raft." And
Wow.
it's sad.
It's hilarious. I'm gonna
It's,
have to
it's
watch it now. I like watching people fail horribly, especially when they don't deserve to succeed.
what's really sad is like he was a noted anthropologist. He'd done a lot of good work, and then
Hmm.
after this, his reputation was crushed. I don't think he ever worked ever seriously again as a scientist.
Well, he shouldn't have, because obviously he doesn't have any respect for scientific method.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that could have went very badly. He's lucky he didn't end up dead,
Yeah, I mean,
honestly.
he came that close. They were actively fantasizing about it, and I don't think that if you even told him, he'd even realize, how close he came to dying.
Probably multiple times.
Yeah. But yeah, there you have it. The Acali sex raft, a scientific experiment that failed so utterly that the person running it had a massive hissy fit at the end of the experiment. Bloody hell. This podcast runs so quickly without Kevin.
I know. Hold on, do you want me to talk for about 45 minutes about something?
About shitting
Like
yourself
to
invariably.
us, to us, it's gonna be like the blunt and ill-informed podcast. Like we're just gonna get you the facts as quick as possible.
Yeah.
because we're not as
But
thoughtful as Kevin. Like, I don't
no,
delve into. I sometimes will delve into the psyche of people on a show, but I don't always. But then again, you and I both, um, we both talk the same, so it's just
yeah,
like, here's my point, and it's done.
yeah.
We're very succinct and blunt.
Here's it. Here's the facts. Here's what happened. Here's the major events. We're done.
Yep. I don't know a lot of history. Like Kevin probably has like 22 stories about sex rafts. He probably shit himself on one or stood off the side of one back when he was a teenager.
I mean, the only way that Santiago could have made this experiment any worse is if he'd done it in a steam-powered submarine. That, to me, is
See,
that's the
that
only
he
way.
should have done that. That's how he should have done it. That's how he should have done it. A steam-powered submarine.
That's. I think I'm going to laugh about that till the day I die, if I'm honest.
What, the
That's just,
steam-powered submarine?
yeah, that was just
Mhm.
the best.
That was good.
Hmm.
Totally useless. I
Ah,
was when
man.
you said raft, I wasn't thinking like a boat. I was thinking of like one of the blow up rafts, like the rafts that are like hooked to cruise ships and stuff. Like just
Yeah.
could fit 5 people. That's it. You you are the captain of this raft. Cool. I can't go anywhere, but I'll be in charge. Everybody row.
And don't forget to have sex.
Don't forget to have sex. Every time you have sex, it's just that plastic sound. Because it's just fucking plastic and inflatable, and it's all right. Yep. So it was more of a boat than a
Yeah.
raft.
Yeah, it was a boat.
Okay.
Just sex raft sounds better.
Sex raft does sound better, but at the same time, like I really honestly was just thinking about one of those life rafts that only fit 5 people.
Yeah.
Just enough to room to sit in. So like there's just people, hanging their ass off of it, going to the bathroom.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, everything was just set up perfectly, and he should have just admitted he was wrong. When a
Yeah.
month went by of him sitting there going, any day now.
Any day. I could just see him doing the whole, Mr. Burns from The
Yeah, with the
Simpsons, just with
hands.
his
Yeah.
with his hands, like drumming his fingertips. Any day.
And when they had any minor confrontation at all, they were like bumped into each other, and one of them was like, "Excuse me." The other one was all like, "That's okay." He was standing there going, "Yes, fight
Yes.
my, fight my puppets, fight."
Yes. Hate one another.
You should have been more subtle. You should have stole necklaces and put them in other people's rooms or something.
Yep. Or
Being
just
this.
found
Sorry.
someone that wasn't him.
Yeah.
Like I said in the chat, you would have at least made them all hate a person that wasn't you.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You would have been like, nah, Ben, that
I would have.
fucking prick, right?
I would have created psychological profiles on all of them, learned everything about them, been their best friends, and then been like, Jim over there, he's a bit of a tosser, isn't he?
A diabolical genius you are.
Oh no, I just got that image in my head of them bumping each other and him standing there. Yes.
Yeah.
Give in to your hate.
And they're like, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, me
Oh,
too.
I'm sorry.
Excuse me. And he's like, no. Shaking his
That's
fist
okay.
up at the sky, dropping onto his knees, like, why?
Why? Soon. Any day now. At a certain point, you're just going to give it up. You just got to be like, oh, man, I am totally wrong about this.
Yeah,
Let's just
my
enjoy
bad.
the rest of this cruise.
Right? on our
Well, that was
raft.
another thing from the documentary.
Mm.
Like, they all expected it to be this life-changing thing
And it
that,
wasn't at all.
yeah, that spent like 3 months at sea, and then, they'd get back home and their lives would be totally different and they'd see the world completely different. No, they all said that. They were like, nah, everything carried on as normal. It was
Yeah,
just a fun memory.
this did nothing for me.
Yeah.
This
Just, you
wasn't
know,
even that great.
it was a fun little cruise. Should have killed Santiago. That's my only regret
That's
from
right.
the set. I
And you know
suppose,
you're a crap person when an entire ship wants to kill you.
yeah. I mean,
Good
I know.
thing that he didn't get anybody that.
Yeah, I don't. I think like that they must have been so copacetic and chill with each other that that's the only reason they didn't kill him. Like someone would suggest it, and the others would be like, "Oh, Deborah, calm down, all right? We don't need to kill him.
We all want to kill him, but what's the point? I mean,
What's the
really.
point? We'll be home soon."
Yeah, we'll be home soon. He'll just be crying alone over his failed raft experiment.
Maybe he wasn't. Maybe he stalked them for several years after, and every time they got into a minor conflict with family or friends,
It's
he's like,
coming. Here it
"It's
is.
coming. This is the result of
Any
my."
day now.
He's like in a mental home with a straitjacket. Any day. It's going to be any day. Any day.
Watching orderlies, just thinking they're all the people on his raft.
You want to
Wow.
fight with each other, don't you?
All right, dude, take your pill.
So, hate to end this conversation with a meme, but I guess the real sex the real sex raft was the friends they made along the way.
I was about to come up with that one. You read my minds. You
I
know,
was I was totally gonna think of that in like 10 or 20 minutes. That was,
you thought of it now, though. So proud
yeah.
of you. You're like,
What
let me
else can
get
you
out of the
say?
way now. I don't
Yeah.
know. I really I I love that. I'm gonna have to watch that documentary. I didn't even know that was a thing, but I'm super into those whole experiments where they just stick people in situations like that. Like I watched the one I was talking about, the We Live in Public. I think they were there for like 6 months, but 24/7 he was broadcasting online live. Period.
Hmm. Yeah, and you'd think more people would be talking about it.
Right. And they didn't. I think back then, I mean, it just became such a shit show. And like,
Yeah.
wouldn't it have been cool? Like, did they actually record on the sex raft or?
Yeah.
See,
There's
that's
documentary
freaking
footage.
awesome. That's really cool. I find that stuff very interesting. I think it's a little bit different once the internet has been established,
Yeah.
and people realize they're actively being watched right then. I think that changes a lot of the psychological
Equation.
aspects of it.
Yeah.
But still, having someone watch you that closely for what was it, 3 months?
Yeah. 2.5 months, I believe.
Yeah, so that's still it's interesting what our brains do. But I'm not at all surprised that nothing happened. I think if he would have kept him there for double that amount of time or triple, something might have happened where they were tired of each other. But really, 2 months isn't enough to, you know,
Dear diary, Jim left the fridge door open again. I'm
right?
going to kill him.
That bastard who doesn't put up their dishes. What kind of crazy person pours the milk before the cereal?
Well, so you got the level right
No,
on the
you
milk.
and we're going to fight to the death one day. We're going to meet up and it's just going to be
Some people
fight to
do
the
that.
death.
Some
It's true.
people put the
Some
milk in the
monsters do
bowl.
that. Some monsters, crazy ass people. You can't trust those people, Richard.
Some people like to warm up water in the microwave before they drink it. I mean,
What people? Like, only if they're putting tea in it, right?
no,
Or
just normal
literally
water.
just like I love me some hot ass water.
Yeah, just warm water.
No lemon,
No
nothing.
lemon, just warm water.
Just
Some
warm water.
people
Yeah,
do that.
no. Those people are crazy. They're psychotic and they can't be trusted. They need to be locked up for their own good and the well-being of those in society around them.
Some people do that. Some people put one sock, one shoe on, and then the other sock and the other shoe. You know, there
Yeah,
are people like that in this world,
that's
and you
very
need to
true.
accept that.
I do accept that. I just also know that that's not the kind of negativity I want in my life. I think, I deal with a lot of stuff, but there's some stuff I'm just not willing to deal with.
Just that's your line, is it?
Yeah.
That's the line in Niki's
That's the
sand.
line in the sand. You can say all sorts of crazy crap to me and I'm like, haha, funny, and you're like, all right, gonna make me some cereal. You start pouring in the milk first and I just,
That's it. Done.
junk punch you in your man business and run off before you kill me.
Junk punch me in my man business. That's a little
Junk
harsh,
punch you
isn't
in the
it?
man business and run away. Well, I mean, it's harsh until you realize that more than likely you're going to end up in the basement tied to a radiator for a really long time, and not in a fun way. Like there might be torture involved, not just
But
sex and food and free TV and
just
a
because I,
mattress.
I watch, or just because I put the milk in before the fucking cereal, that's
Yeah,
what happens. To
yeah,
me.
that's what happens.
It sounds like you're the
I do not
crazy
trust.
person.
No, no, I'm not. I put my cereal in first and then the milk.
That's not
So
a good way
I
of
think it
judging
is.
that.
I think that that's a really good way of judging sanity. I mean, at least I'm not blatantly insane by not doing that.
Maybe you are insane because like you put the cereal in first, then it's just a waste of cereal. You put the milk in first, you know how much cereal to put in.
No, you want to put in your cereal first because what if I want a lot of cereal? I want to fill up the bowl with cereal and then whatever milk I can fit in there without the cereal like spilling out the other side. That's the perfect amount of milk.
I bet you're the kind of psychopath that bought Lucky Charms and then ate all the marshmallows without the cereal.
No, I'm the kind of psychopath who eats Lucky Charms. I eat all the cereal first and I leave the marshmallows for last. So they're all like soggy in milk and then I eat those. And
That
God
is pretty.
help whoever is around whenever I accidentally get a hold of a marshmallow when I'm not ready. Because it just ruins my whole damn day.
No,
That's the
no.
way to do it. Just me. It's like me going to work in the morning where I'm like, I don't wanna. That's just me with my cereal.
It just sounds more and more like you're the psychopath.
I mean, I'm not absolutely sane. We both know
Would you?
that. I play in people's eyes for a living.
That's true, and you enjoy it. You're like,
I do. I
yes.
love it. I'm like, woohoo! You got a cataract? Let's take that sucker out.
One day the doctor will put the scalpel through that lovely eyeball. Any day now.
Not
Any
every
day.
day. Every day, every surgery, there's a little scalpel hole in an eyeball.
I meant like stab the person properly.
Oh, nah.
It's part of your theory that all doctors are insane and want to stab people in the face.
I don't have that theory. There have been some doctors I wanted to stab in the face where I was like, if I just quote unquote accidentally cut them, how mad will they be? Accidents
But
do happen.
they do happen.
It would be really hard to kill someone with our scalpels though, because they're very small. It would be like getting paper cut to death.
Yeah.
You're not
But a
going to
good
do any
laugh.
real damage.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
not?
No, it's worth a good laugh though. I've been stabbed by one multiple times.
By
By
yourself.
myself. On my own. On accident. I'm
That's not
perfectly
really
fine.
psychopathy, is it? I mean, you're the Santiago of stabbing yourself with scalpels.
Well, I mean, Kevin said that you're Santiago, so
I'd be way smarter about it than Santiago. I'd use like drugs and stuff and learn their weaknesses and plant seeds of dissent before we even got on the ship.
just
I
make
mean,
everybody but one person allergic to peanut butter.
yeah, exactly.
Like they're all allergic to peanuts except for one person who really loves peanut butter, and that's the only thing they ever eat.
He's just sitting
Be
there.
like, fucking Doug.
I hate you, Doug, and your peanut butter face.
He gets to eat dinner and lunch all by himself because no one can be around him.
Hey, Rich, how'd your experiment go? Not well, pushed them too far. They killed and ate Doug, and they all died because he was full of peanuts.
Basically. So I consider this a success.
All in all, 100% successful scientific experiment. I mean,
Hey, it's 42 past. We've stayed on topic the entire time.
we've managed to stay completely on topic for this entire show.
What does
Do we
that
even
mean?
need Kevin moving forward?
Yes,
I
we
mean-
need Kevin. I love Kevin. What are we going to do? We'll only have 45 minutes. We need 15 minutes of Kevin talking to fill up. We need it just for when he's gone next time. We just need to record a conversation with him and just
We need one of
press
those
play when we're done.
soundboards where every button plays a different Kevin word.
Yeah, that would be awesome. We could just have him say whatever the heck we want him to.
And it's got to be in different phrases, so it's very obvious that that's what we're doing. Otherwise, it's not funny.
That's true.
Hi, my name is Kevin.
I want shit. Coffee. Empire State Building. I moved my pants in front of the queen. I love you, Kevin.
We love you, Kevin. We're just
We miss
messing with
you.
you.
We hope you feel better. Kevin is not feeling good today.
Yeah, he couldn't make it. He
And
told me
I
2
can't give him
minutes
crap. Yeah.
before the show started. 2 minutes.
2
Thanks,
minutes.
thanks for the notice there, buddy.
It's all good. I do that to him sometimes. Not 2 minutes. Usually he gets a few hours with me. Or I'm like, hey.
Hey, not making it tonight.
Hey, guess what? I'm
I
in
know
a
I
lot
said
of
I'd
shape.
be here, but I've got Niki shit to do, so.
Do you want me to reference Germany? Rod
got a
said that we
good
did a
cricket
whole
team.
show without reference to Germany.
Yeah, again, without Kevin. I'm just saying, pretty clear where all this is coming from.
Kevin, do you like Germany?
A whole show on topic. We actually talked in depth, and we didn't reference Germany. Why do we need him again? What's he bringing
Because
to the
he's
table?
awesome. Kevin is great.
Kevin is great.
We love Kevin.
We do. Just teaming up against him because he is the common enemy.
I like the fact that like we've had a run through some hosts or whatever, but it's not like they've ever left like in a bad way.
Yeah.
Like they go to their, Chubbs went to his show, which by the way you should check it out. It's awesome.
It is good.
We've got a porn bot in the room.
Yeah,
so
I got
that's
it.
Great.
Yeah, it just completely disrails you every time it happens.
Every
doesn't
time it
We have
happens, I'm like, naked HD XYZ. Here, girls want everyone, even you.
that- Oh,
even
click
you,
on that.
Richard.
Click.
Even you.
Oh,
They want
Yes.
everyone, even you. That's like the worst for bots. Like, hey, listen, I know you're on the internet. You're not doing crap. You're listening to a really badly produced podcast. So these girls, they're hot and they want people like anyone. It doesn't matter. Even you. Where are the naked HD guys that want everyone, even me?
yeah. Niki
Big
needs
girls
love
need
too.
love too. That's right.
Well, I mean, you like spaghetti, so you can have the girls.
That's true. I'm down with the girls. Good old mac and cheese sounds. You know what I'm saying?
Scissor them as lesbians totally do.
As that's totally a thing that lesbians and bisexuals do, as scissor. Yeah, it's totally not made up
Absolutely.
by the porn industry. Do it all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's because I blocked them, Rod. I was on that right away. Ever since we had that racist bot come in a couple of weeks, I've been paying close attention.
There's been a racist bot that came in here?
Yeah, a racist bot came in a couple of weeks ago.
That's hysterical. What did it do? Like, Heil.
It said the N word repeatedly.
Ooh,
Just a whole paragraph of the N word hard R.
ooh.
Yeah, so I
That's
was like,
gross. Are you sure wasn't a troll?
no, it was a bot.
Are you sure it wasn't me? Just like, haha. Just kidding. I would never do that.
While I totally believe you're capable of that, I'm
Yeah, I'm
pretty sure it
absolutely
wasn't.
not. I wouldn't even be able to type it. That would hurt me just typing it. I
Yeah,
just nope.
okay. Nope.
Me and the derogatory terms for other races, we don't
We
get
don't
along.
we don't roll that way. That's
No, we
not the
don't. They make me. I had a couple of friends at work use it wasn't the N word, but a different derogatory term towards black people, and they were black as well. And every time they said it, I like flinched, just like I understood that they were allowed to say that, but for me, it just like hurt my heart. Plus, it was such an old term. I hadn't heard it since I don't know, like movies that were set in the 60s, like just old movies have it. And I'm just like, nope.
kind of want to know what it was now.
It's a
Was it
four
the
letter
G
word.
word?
Yeah, it's a four-letter word that starts with a C.
Oh, right, gotcha.
Yeah. And
Makes more
not your
sense.
favorite, not our favorite four-letter word that ends with or that starts with a C. It was, you know, like a certain animal that gets into trash.
Right, yeah, gotcha. We're on
Yeah.
the same page now. Canary.
Canary. Yeah. They were called canary asses, and or canary e. I was like, what? Is that a word? I had no idea it was still being used, especially by the black community. So when I heard it, it just every single time I flinched. I was like, oh no, oh no,
Hmm. Hmm.
I cannot.
Yeah, I get that way about certain words.
Yep. Usually mine's
Rod.
only derogatory statements. Like derogatory words towards demographics are not cool with me.
Hmm. No, I'm totally fine with those sorts of words. It's words like Nikki's cool and everyone likes Nikki. That just makes
Yeah,
me flinch.
I know.
Speaking of
Well,
Nikki, Rod Dupree wants some naked Nikki bombs. You can find those at NikkiDoes50guysand50girls.com.
it's very true.
It
It
is a
used to be a
registered
much
domain name.
Yeah, it used to be much longer registered domain name, but that was like 20 years ago, and we don't remember what it all was.
It pops up on my Facebook feed sometimes. It's one of my memories. So once a year it pops up, and then I remember. Oh yeah, that's what the complete line
No,
is.
that's what the completely was. Something like Nikki does 50 guys and 50 girls because
Because
she's
she's
bisexual.
pansexual, not
Something,
demisexual.
something like that. I don't remember.
We're really
Yeah,
mean to each other.
we are. That's what I love about our relationship.
Yeah, yeah. It'll only end when one of us kills ourselves because of the other one.
Um, Dibs on being first.
Ah, and on that awesome note, ladies and gentlemen, what do you want to talk about next week, Nikki? It's your turn to pick a topic. It has to
Can't
be.
be just, hey, we'll talk about We Live in Public. How about that?
Oh, we'll talk about exactly the same thing, only in a bunker.
Okay, fine. We won't talk about the exact same thing, only in a bunker. You're just like, oh, Nikki, it's your turn. Think of something off the top of your head.
It can be anything. We're not like bound to true crime and mystery. Anything you're
No,
passionate
I know
about.
anything that I'm passionate about, but I'm not passionate about that many things.
What about
I
that?
don't think.
What about what's wrong with you?
Oh, you want me to do an episode on Ehlers-Danlos and we can just make everybody super duper depressed?
Could raise awareness.
We could raise awareness. I was actually thinking about that earlier today, doing it for Red for Veds, which is vascular EDS, which will happen next year around June or July. I think maybe August. I don't even know when it is, but Yeah, I mean, I could. I could talk about Ehlers-Danlos, and connective tissue and all that crap, but I don't know who would be actually interested in it. And I would want to do it without sounding like, a pussy. I don't want to be like, and I hurt so much all the time, because you get that. Like you already know. No one wants to hear that every day.
Well, all right then. If you don't want to do it on that, what do you want to do it on?
I am thinking I will have something tomorrow. I will have something this week, and it will just be a big surprise.
Okay, we're going to do a Nikki surprise.
There, a Niki surprise. I need more than 2 minutes to think about it.
Well, you've had like 4 now, so
I don't know. I might do one on Aqua Tofana because I think that's an interesting story, though it is true
absolutely.
crime. I will think about it.
Just something that interests you. Like,
Okay.
I mean, we could. I've talked about everything that I'm interested in. Every time we go down a rabbit hole, I involve my many, many listeners.
That is very true. You do. I don't go down a lot of rabbit holes anymore. Like, my day consists of working and then coming home and, like, hanging out with friends and watching stupid crap.
Sleeping mostly.
It's very true. Thanks for calling
No,
me out.
we could put you on the spot. It's like I know you or something.
Right?
But okay, we will return next week with a topic, maybe.
Definitely. We'll come up with a topic next week.
Guys, good night from me, and it's good fun night from Nikki. Good night.
Night.
Disco sucks.